Stay frosty and head over to ezmutt.com for the cheapest mutt coins on the market. When I say cheapest, I mean it. We're talking 1 million coins for around 45 bucks. Use code DIRECTOR for 8% off. Yo, brothers, what's up? It's the Director. Chargers fans, we got another division matchup coming up on Sunday versus the Denver Broncos. And yeah, I know some fans aren't super excited about this. I mean, like, what is there left to play for other than trying to get a better draft position? Am I right? You gotta remember that both of these teams are 5-9 right now at the bottom of the division of the AFC West. I don't know about you guys, but I do not want to be in the basement of the 2020 season. It just carries a lot of bad vibes. And with the Chargers facing up against the Kansas City Chiefs next week, I think we're gonna need to get the win here in order to give ourselves a chance at not being in the basement this year. And plus, it's the Broncos. Like, we gotta crush them. But on top of that, this game does have more implications as far as success of the season than many other people may realize. Probably the biggest one being Justin Herbert. Guys, this is the week. This is the week where records are going to be broken. This is the week where truly we will be witnesses to history as Justin Herbert takes another step in the direction of being the best rookie quarterback of all time. Now, I do expect him to break one record this week, but next week, if he's going to have a chance at Andrew Luck's all-time rookie quarterback yardage record, he's going to need to put up some serious numbers this week. So we have some serious responsibility as Chargers fans to get up on Sunday and really root for Justin Herbert to not only break the touchdown record, but also put up enough yards to give him a chance against Kansas City next week. And we'll go through all the specifics as far as numbers and stats and stuff here in this video. But before we do get started, guys, here is your last call, last chance. I'm very excited to announce that I will be selecting the winner for this signed Derwin James jersey tonight as my Christmas gift to you guys, my loyal supporters of the channel. And it is not too late to enter. I think the thing closes in just a few hours. If you guys want a last second chance to enter for this giveaway, it's very easy. Hit up the link in the description, follow the instructions there, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Only subs can win. And guys, again, thank you so much for all the support this year. It's been an incredible season here on the channel. Merry Christmas to everybody. Also, the ongoing Join My Crew campaign is live right now. It's a great way to support me and support the channel. You guys get perks like custom emotes, which I will be adding some more here very shortly, members only chat for my live streams, and getting your name in the end credits of my videos. If you guys would like to join, hit up the join button underneath this video on the top right hand side of my channel. There is a link in the description there if you guys need it as well. And with that, guys, let's get into this matchup. Week 16 of the NFL season, the Chargers versus the Denver Broncos. Before we get rolling, guys, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this content. Small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into this video. Lights, camera, action. The Chargers versus Denver Broncos Week 16 matchup. Whew, I'm so excited about this one, guys. I'm excited as a guy who streams these games to be able to say the words, Chargers fans are witnesses to history, because you guys bet your butts that's going to happen. Before we start breaking down these matchups, breaking down these players, we do need to take a look at the Chargers injury report this week. Now, it is only Thursday. I'm putting this out a day early for you guys. Merry Christmas Eve. For you guys watching it the next day, Merry Christmas. Let's take a look at some of the players the Chargers should be concerned about as far as their injury right now. Probably the biggest one a lot of Chargers fans are worried about. I mean, there's some guys out there wondering about this for their fantasy teams as well. Keenan Allen has not practiced this week due to a hamstring injury. Not good. And as someone with Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen on their fantasy team as well, I completely understand the worry there. But at the same time, Keenan Allen, he did play a couple of snaps last week versus the Raiders. He's had 10 days to heal up. It is a hamstring injury, which has me a little bit concerned. But if I were a betting man, I would say more than likely Keenan Allen should be good to go on Sunday. Obviously, we'll know more on Sunday, but at the same time, it is considered a game time decision at this point in time. So make sure you guys pay attention to that, especially if he's on your fantasy squad. As for the win for the Chargers, I really do hope that he does step in this game because he's almost a lock for like 9 receptions and a touchdown every time he plays Denver. That's kind of like the team that he really throws it all down for. Outside of that, Joey Bosa is back in concussion protocol also does have a shin injury. He has limited practice this week. I'm not quite sure where he's at in the concussion protocol. I do know that Anthony Lynn mentioned that he's not going to be shut down for the rest of the season. So if he's good to go, if he clears concussion protocol, you can expect to see him out in the field this week. Also, Brian Bulaga, concussion protocol. He did get a full practice in both days, but at the same time, it's never a guarantee when it comes to concussion protocol. He has to clear that. I'm not quite sure what his status is on that, but right now it looks like he's good to go. As well as Chris Harris Jr., which this one's kind of important to me. Chris Harris didn't get a chance to play up against the Denver Broncos last time we did play them because he was out with injury that time as well. This time he should get his first shot at playing against his former team, which he did mention at some point in a post somewhere that he wants to put on a show versus his former team, the Denver Broncos. So it's great to have him back on the field this particular week. And last notables for the Chargers, it looks like Joe Reed is back. It looks like Denzel Perryman actually might be making a return this week as well, which could be pretty nice for the Bolts. And then likely Uchenna Nwosu might be out as well. But I mean, you take a big picture look at it, Keenan Allen does concern me, but everywhere else I'm feeling pretty good outside of Uchenna Nwosu, of course. So let's take a look at the opposition here, the Denver Broncos. Oh, wait, before we do, I do need to mention something about the Chargers here. Hunter Henry has been placed on the COVID list, so it does not look like Hunter Henry will be playing this week. Keep that in mind. That could be pretty important when it comes to how Justin Herbert spreads the ball out this week. I do think we're going to see more targets, thrown Austin Eckler's way and stuff like that. The duo of Jalen Guyton and Tyron Johnson have been pretty reliable in the past couple of weeks as well, so you can expect more targets to them. But right now, Hunter Henry, he's going to be sitting out. And also, the Chargers, be aware that the Chargers did place linebacker Kazir White on injured reserve, so he will not be available for this matchup either. Okay, let's move into the Denver Broncos side of the injury report here. Take a look. There's actually quite a few big names on here, guys. Things that Chargers fans should pay attention to, because any absence from any of these players does hold significant positive and negative consequences to this game. Bradley Chubb probably being the biggest one. The Denver Broncos pass rush is among the most lethal in the league. He has not practiced this week. He's got an ankle injury. Of course, it's still Thursday. He could get a limited or full practice in on Friday. I haven't heard any other status updates from him at this point, but that's pretty huge, guys. This definitely could change the pace of the game for Justin Herbert, who's really good against pressure anyway, but Bradley Chubb does account for a lot of pressure on that side of the ball for Denver, so very interesting development there. Philip Lindsay has not practiced either. Of course, they do have Melvin Gordon, which last time we played him, we did a pretty good job at shutting him down, but Philip Lindsay's definitely one of those dual threat kind of guys that if he's on the field, we have to pay attention to him as well. And then limited practices for both these guys, Dotson and Williams. Graham Gladskow did get a full practice in though, as well as Shelby Harris, so those guys will probably be good to go. And then Nate Hairston has not practiced either, and this is a part of the Broncos defense I'm going to touch on here in a minute. Their cornerbacks are absolutely depleted. So outside of that, actually let me take a look at the Broncos COVID list real quick. Okay, here's their injured reserve. They got a lot of big names in here, but a lot of these guys we already know. They've been out for a while, like Von Miller. Injured reserve, Jonathan Harris probably not playing. AJ Bouye, that's a big one. I think he's been suspended. Yes, he has. Suspended. Not having AJ Bouye on the field is pretty big for the Chargers too. That should allow Justin Herbert to go pretty crazy out there. Here we go, COVID list. Brandon McManus. I think I saw something on Twitter not too long ago saying that Brandon McManus has been activated, so keep that in mind. Let me know in the comment section if that's accurate. Now it's time to get into some of the fun stuff here, guys. I got a bunch of topics I want to go over and things that are significant about this game. Let's start with the obvious one in Justin Herbert, the guy, the rookie sensation that's out here breaking all kinds of records. He's got a shot at breaking a couple of more this week, and he's put in a really good position to do so for the next couple of weeks to really stand out as the best rookie quarterback of all time. Now, like I mentioned before, just looking at AJ Bouye on the suspension list for the Denver Broncos, that holds a lot of significance to Justin Herbert's game this week, because if we take a look at their depth chart here, let's go all the way up here to cornerback, okay? Justin Herbert's going to be going up against a pretty depleted cornerback unit. I mean, you got Bosby, Hairston, who we saw down there. We saw Motley. They're all kind of, a group of nobodies, really. I hate to say it. And Justin Herbert versus guys like these, he should have a field day versus a secondary like this. Now, this doesn't mean there's not anybody back there to pay attention to. If we go down here to the safeties, they still have some pretty beastly playmakers out here at safety. Kareem Jackson and, of course, Justin Simmons, both guys that we have to take very, very seriously. But when it comes to the cornerback unit, really, there is nobody there, and this does open up an opportunity for Justin Herbert to really go off this this week. So in my opinion, there's a couple of different, factors to look into Justin Herbert this week, reasons to believe why he should have a pretty good game this week. I do think their pass rush is going to force Justin Herbert to really operate at a pretty high level. So a lot of dump offs to Austin Eckler, a lot of play actions and rollouts should keep him on a good tempo and allow him to pick up a lot of yards and maybe a 2 or 3 touchdown day for him as well. Now, we all know that Justin Herbert last week versus the Vegas Raiders did tie the all-time touchdown records by a rookie quarterback, currently held by Justin Herbert and Baker Mayfield at 27. Now, that is going to be shattered this year, and it's going to be shattered on Sunday with Justin Herbert, or by Justin Herbert. He is going to get his 28th touchdown of the season and become the new GOAT of that category. And honestly, I cannot wait to stream that game with you guys and kind of go crazy with everybody in the comments when it happens. But there's another milestone that I think Justin Herbert needs to hit in order to succeed next week. We're always thinking and looking ahead on this channel. Take a look at the leaders right now in passing yards in the NFL. Justin Herbert, even though he's a game behind, is number 8 on the season. If you guys remember last week, I showed you what it looked like when he played Thursday early before everybody else. He was number 2 in the entire league. Now that everybody's played their 14th game, he does fall down back to number 8, but still 3,781 yards is what he's currently at. Again, 27 touchdowns, which we expect him to shatter that record this week. How many yards does he need to break Andrew Luck's record, which is at 4,374? I mean, very simple math. He's going to need 594 more yards to break the record. Now, the reason this week holds a lot of significance is because next week we are playing against the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? And that defense is not going to be as easy to dice up as the one that we have this week versus the Broncos. So in order for Herbert to have a shot at breaking Luck's record next week, I do think that Herbert needs to have a 300-plus yard day, hopefully somewhere around 330, 340 yards. I mean, that's really the ceiling, kind of look at it, but at the same time, it really sets him up for success next week. So he needs a 300-plus yard game this week in order to stay on pace in breaking that record next week versus Kansas City. But there's a lot of hope to suggest that actually does happen. You guys remember what happened last week? Denver Broncos went up against the Buffalo Bills, and holy cow, did this defense get absolutely destroyed. Josh Allen, 28 for 40, 359 yards, 2 touchdowns, and that was just through the air, man. On the ground, he had another 33 yards and 2 more touchdowns. Yeah, Josh Allen, dude, a quarterback that a lot of people compare Justin Herbert to, absolutely went off. And I think there's a couple of reasons for this. I don't think the Denver Broncos are the same Broncos that we faced last time. They're considerably worse due to injuries and declining play of pretty much everyone on their defense and their quarterback especially. Now, I do think Josh Allen has earned the right to say, yeah, he's better than Justin Herbert right now. He's a proven veteran. He's done it for a couple of years, and he's been getting better and better each season. And so I don't know if I fully expect him to put up the same yards as Josh Allen did last week at 359. But with the trends that Justin Herbert's been making, the leaps that he's been making in his game this year, I don't think he's too far away from the number. Certainly less, but I don't think by that much. And we take a look at how Justin Herbert did last time he faced up against the Denver Broncos. Put up some respectable numbers, 278 yards, 3 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions on top of that. And again, their secondary looks considerably different since the last time we played them, as well as their pass rush, especially if Bradley Chubb is not playing. It's on the ground where we really did a lot of work the last time we did play them, but still, if you kind of take a look at what they did or what the Broncos allowed versus Josh Allen versus what Justin Herbert did last time to them, I think it's very evident that he's going to break the touchdown record, and he could put up enough to have a shot at breaking Andrew Luck's record next week as well. So that's kind of the yardage stats to pay attention to for Justin Herbert. I'm going to go ahead and predict that Justin Herbert ends the day with 329 yards, 3 touchdowns, an interception, then maybe add 15 yards on the ground as well. So that would definitely put him on a good pace to break Luck's record next week versus the Chiefs as well. Those are some pretty good numbers. I put together some things of the receivers here, some notes of the receivers as well. Keenan Allen, we already looked at him. He's a questionable game time decision, but if he does play, I can guess that he'll probably have like 9 receptions and a touchdown. But if he does not play, I do think Mike Williams does have a pretty good game. Last time we played against them, Mike Williams had quite a few yards. What was it? 5 receptions for 99 yards and a touchdown. So he definitely has proven he's efficient versus the Denver Broncos. So I can expect the same thing, especially if Keenan Allen is sitting out that game. And then also keep in mind, Jalen Guyton and Tyron Johnson have been pretty good in the last couple of weeks as well. The one guy I do want to pay attention to, though, is Austin Eckler. Now, last time we played them, the halfback position did get a lot of receptions. Of course, Austin Eckler was injured and not playing versus them, but 3 receptions to Justin Jackson, 5 to Pope, and then 1 to Neighbors and 1 to Kelly. So that's quite a few balls balls thrown the direction of our halfbacks. And I think that remains pretty consistent. The only thing I do think changes the efficiency of every reception at the halfback position this week. And that's, of course, because we do have Austin Eckler this time around. And I really do think that he gets a lot of work this week. Because like I said before, Denver's pass rush is still pretty lethal. I can see Justin Herbert dumping it off to his safety valve a lot of the times, which is going to be his tight ends and running backs. And again, the efficiency of every reception when it comes to, like, let's say Justin Jackson and Tremaine Pope versus Austin Eckler is pretty significant. Austin Eckler is going to make guys miss. He's going to break a lot of tackles. He's going to turn those short yard passes into long yard receptions, if you kind of catch my drift. So I'm pretty high on Austin Eckler this week. As far as the receivers on the Denver side of the ball, the guys that I'm kind of worried about are Noah Fant, who went off for 8 receptions, 68 yards, and a touchdown last week versus the Buffalo Bills. That's something that is probably going to be a little tough for the Chargers to stop. I can probably guess that Michael Davis is probably going to be assigned to him a lot in coverage, with maybe a lot of Chris Harris Jr. on Jerry Jeudy, who's the next guy that I will talk about here. He's kind of inefficient last week versus the Bills, but last time he played against us, he had something like 70-something yards, and he was pretty good. I actually have it right here. 4 receptions, 73 yards. But that really does all depend on the play of Drew Locke, which we will get into in just a moment. Now let's talk a little bit about the running back position for the Chargers and the Broncos. So last time we did play, we did see a pretty good, efficient, numbers and 210 yards, and this is between a lot of different guys: Jackson Pope, Kelly Herbert, and Mike Williams. And I do think the duo of Ballage and Eckler are pretty good this week. At least they should be, because again, the last matchup, 210 yards. The only thing I did notice was 0 scores. But really, Eckler being back this time, I know we just talked about him as a receiver. We're going to talk about him again. I think this should allow the Chargers to remain a threat in the pass as well as in the run in early downs. And a lot of people talk about establishing the run to open up the pass. I think it kind of goes both ways, right? If you're pretty good in the passing game, you're going to be very good in the running game as well. So what I'm trying to get to here is no more run, pass, okay? I'm sick of that. Use Eckler as intended. He's a dual threat running back. Definitely make sure that he's out there on first downs. And when Ballage comes out, you're sitting here like, oh yeah, okay, they're going to run it up the middle. It's the trademark by Anthony Lynn. But if Austin Eckler's out there, it could really go either way. They might have to spread things out a little bit more, and that should increase the proficiency and efficiency of Austin Eckler on the ground, as well as through the pass. I want to see a lot of screens. I want to see a lot of swings. I want to see a lot of dump offs to Austin Eckler this week, because I think he's proven to be very good against the Broncos when given the opportunity. And as for the Broncos running backs, it's pretty much Melvin Gordon. I know Phillip Lindsay was injured. We don't know what's going to happen with him yet, but I think Melvin Gordon, the last time we played him, honestly, we did shut him down pretty good. 8 carries for 26 yards. I think Chargers fans are feeling really good about that. Just keep in mind, Melvin Gordon probably wasn't really happy with that number. He's going to get another shot at it this week. And the Chargers defense versus the run hasn't looked really good. So I'm going to be honest. The 2 guys that I'm most concerned about on Denver's side on their offense are Melvin Gordon and Noah Fant. Jerry Jeudy kind of a little bit, but Noah Fant, I think he's the kind of player that can really expose our defense. I do want to talk a little bit about Drew Locke. Okay, Drew Locke, I know a lot of Broncos fans very high on him after having a pretty decent last couple of games in 2019. In 2020, though, it's a completely different story. The last time he played us, he looked pretty good, and I think that's just because of how the Chargers defense is operated, the way that they're coached. Honestly, Gus Bradley had a lot to do with this number last time we played him: 248, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. However, he has not looked as great the last couple of times, his last couple of games in 2020. Last week versus the Buffalo Bills, 132 yards and a touchdown. Not looking good. On the ground, did he get any yards here, Drew Locke? 5 for 37. So, I mean, it could have been worse. But honestly, Drew Locke definitely has a lot of issues, especially when you start throwing a lot of pressure at him. And if the Chargers have Joey Bosa back, if we maybe have Uchenna Nwosu back, even if they're gone, we still have, Jerry Tillery, Isaac Rochelle, who had a really good play last week. We got some guys to get after the quarterback. I think that should be a big part of the game plan this week, is kind of get after Drew Locke, make him sweat a little bit, because when he does, he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league when it comes to performing under pressure. And really, considering how the Chargers were kind of exposed by him last time, I would really like to see them shut him down a little bit. Honestly, again, Drew Locke has looked okay at times in the season, but lately it's just been going lower and lower, declining in play, and I do think the Chargers have an opportunity to shut him down this week, especially with his former teammate Chris Harris Jr. coming back and wanting to get a piece of him as well. And it does kind of circle back around to shutting down Melvin Gordon. Again, if the run's not working, I kind of want to force Drew Locke into a position where he needs to step up, and I like our odds when Drew Locke needs to be put into that position. Again, last time we did a pretty good job at stopping Melvin Gordon. If we can force Drew Locke into a position where he has to pass a lot, He's been awful lately. I like our chances better there. It just kind of depends on how the Chargers perform versus and against the run. If we can shut it down, again, I feel a lot better about making Drew Locke do things than Melvin Gordon. But it really should be a good one, guys. There's a lot of things to be excited about. I'm so excited to see Justin Herbert break that rookie touchdown record. It's going to be a good time. But really, like, even after we break it, I'm going to be sweating a little bit. It's like, okay, Justin Herbert, it's time to go to work now. I want to see over 300 yards this week because you're going to need them next week versus Kansas City. With all that said, you guys ready for my official score prediction? Chargers 28, Broncos 19. I do think that Justin Herbert is going to have a fantastic day. I do think that the Chargers defense can step up and force Drew Locke to have some mistakes. And ultimately, I do think this does bring the Chargers out of the basement and gives us a good shot at not finishing last in the AFC West. But again, don't forget, guys, this game is more about Justin Herbert than I think anything else. And that's really what I'm rooting for. So in the comment section below, guys, I want you guys to post what your prediction is for Justin Herbert's stats this week. Do you think maybe he underperforms and he has to play catch up versus Kansas City, or do you think he does put up enough to have a good shot at it in week 16? And as always, you can put your score prediction there as well, how you think the Chargers are going to perform versus the Denver Broncos. Well, guys, it should be a good one. I will be live on Sunday with you guys. Cannot wait to see the chat go crazy when the record is broken and for the chat to continue to root on Justin Herbert for the rest of the game as well. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Remember, guys, hit up the link in the description. Join the giveaway for that Derwin James jersey before it is too late, as well as consider joining my crew. Good luck to everybody, and congratulations to the winner in advance. Guys, we'll see you next time. If you did enjoy what you saw, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. This has been The Director. We'll see you next time, and as always, bolt up and stay frosty. Here come the credits.